I was always afraid as a kid coming past it.
There was people that were murdered here. She didn't know how many.
This has always been reputed to be the Staffeldetta Bordello.
The old bordello, which I used to own, is haunted.
Honey, I'm home. I killed him.
Are you hanging out in this house because you're scared to go to hell?
You might knock her ass down, but she's gonna land back on her feet.
Welcome to Galena, Kansas, home of the notorious murder bordello. Join us on this episode of Shadows on 66.
Can you keep my secret?
Holy shit.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. I'm Selena with Fear Paranormal, and you've joined us on Close to Death. I have a very special guest tonight. I'm really excited, and I think she's pretty excited as well. Friend of mine from Austin. Her name is Alyssa Onyx. Hey Alyssa, are you with us?
Yes, hello.
Hey, you're in the Onyx Dungeon, are you?
I am live from the Onyx Dungeon. It's a work in progress. I've still got a few things to put up, but it's coming along. My little cake.
It looks pretty spooky, so I think you're doing a good job so far.
Good. Good deal.
Well, for those of my audience who are not familiar with you, why don't you kind of tell them a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Well, I am based out of Austin. I've been here for the last year and a half, and I'm a native Texan, proud to be. It's home. I have been involved in the paranormal since I was a baby, 2 going on 3 years old. I grew up in a very somewhat active home, and spirits would kind of come to everybody in their own little way. I bonded with an elderly spirit that I called Lady, and that's the name that I knew to give her. And at 2 years old, that's pretty deep stuff. And my brother and sister have 10 and 14 years on me, so they were seeing it. They were the ones turning on the cassette tapes at that time and recording me talking to them. And I'm just a little bitty country girl talking about Lady. And she was very protective of me, and I would draw pictures of her. So I'm 25 now. That's 23 years of having what I call a gift. And about 8 years ago, dove in professionally. And by professionally, meaning traveling to these places, learning about them, researching as much as I can through internet, books, word of mouth, whatever. I used to do the group thing, but the way my senses work, if I'm with so many people, it will just completely throw it off. So I'm more comfortable going to a place by myself or with 1 or 2 other people. So this February, I launched Dark Doll Paranormal, which the name comes from, I'm also a makeup artist. I've been doing that as my career to make money the last 7 years now. So Dark Doll just seems very fitting. I'm very dark and somewhat gothic in a way, and just tied it all together. So that's my world.
Wow, that's cool. That thing floating in the back of you is kind of freaking me out a little bit. I'm like, did I see an apparition on the other side? I think you got like something hanging by your light. I'm like, whoa, it's moving.
Those are my friends, yeah. But I never know. I mean, I've been in this location. I just moved to this apartment about 2 months ago. I don't notice any activity around me, but, as investigators, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, we try to bring it home. But sometimes they're here, and it is what it is. I don't mind it.
Yeah. I haven't found a real mean one. They can get cranky, but I haven't found like a really scary one just yet. I don't hope that I don't really, but it'll happen, I'm sure. So Dark Doll, you do that by yourself, huh? You go to locations by yourself, or maybe with one person filming you as you are in a new project with, it's not new, it's been a work in progress for a while, but Will Scoville, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, Voice of the Unknown is the baby right now. That is the love and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears going into it. Granted, I'm, he's doing most of the hard work and I hope he's not stressing as much as I know that he probably is. And I chime in every now and then to check up on him, but, I'm very thankful that he brought me on. It happened at the most perfect time in my life. A lot was going wrong and a lot of things were just really up in the air, and it was kind of just a freak way it happened. I showed up to do an investigation at the haunted Magnolia Hotel in Seguin, Texas, which heavy place. We're talking packed with activity from so many different personalities, ages, so much is going on. And I basically just went to do the investigation and knew there was going to be an interview of some sort and had heard a Voice of the Unknown, but didn't really want to jump in and be like, hey, I'm an investigator. Can I, be a part of the project? I just kind of kept my mouth shut, and he ended up being there. So met him, we hit it off, and did the interview, and I spoke as an investigator. I spoke from my heart, why I do it, what I feel, how it makes me feel, and I went home that night, and he said, the interview went great. Will you stick with this, and will you kind of come on board? And I was like, yeah. So we're pushing it, and we're getting down to crunch time, but it's definitely going to be a game changer. You hear talk of people falling in love with paranormal activity and The Conjuring, and movies with such heavy activity that's reenacted, of course. What you're going to see in Voice of the Unknown is real. Nothing is scripted. Nothing has been reenacted in any way. It's gonna be scary. A lot happened, and but we're excited. We're very excited for it. So
I know that feeling about things going wrong in your life, and like I can thank Brad and Barry Kling for kind of bringing me on to Shadows on 66. So I totally understand the excitement when they ask you. You're like trying to be cool and go, yeah, it'd be kind of fun. Sure, why not? But inside, you're like a little kid freaking out, wanting to get out of the car and, jump up and freak. But it happened at a great time, and I'm glad you are on the project. I mean, I was wondering about the haunted Magnolia because my cousins and I have a lot of family that live there. Right. And, we had, people when they first hear about a thing, they're going, is it really that haunted? Or they just hyping it up? Because they do it a lot. They do it at a lot of places, and it's kind of a disappointment. But I really wanted to get in there, but man, trying to get a hold of someone to get in that place is like impossible. So maybe one day, maybe you could hook me up and get me in there.
Happy, I will. And we're hoping, because, Erin, who she has Magnolia, she's an author, has written some really, really great pieces on activity around the New Braunfels area, but around Texas. She fell into, owning the property, and, they're in the process of restoring it the best that they can. But, until we're on the other side, we're not going to know exactly how they're feeling. All these people are coming in, and paint's being put up, and things are being moved around, and new window panes are being put up. The energy in that place is really being stirred. And you've got good and you've got bad. Some people will argue that there's not any bad there, and I don't mean to put it out there in the sense that it's evil. There's just some heavy stuff going on in that location, and you feel it instantly. You don't even have to get inside the building. You step out onto the property, and it's like a magnet. It's intense. But I think it's going to bring a lot of attention. The Voice of the Unknown is going to bring a lot of attention to the Magnolia, and I feel like it's going to bring good attention because you want to keep places like that going. And I know that the spirits would like that. They don't, you don't want to see places torn down, and you want to keep it pure, and you want to keep it, you want to keep it real, you want to keep it alive. So I think this film is going to do a lot for that location.
Right, and I understand what you mean about that, because the Galena Bordello that we filmed at one time, it was almost dilapidated and it was falling into disrepair, and the guy took it and bought it and made it. It is absolutely beautiful. But when Penny and I we just went to Villisca last week, and we stopped back through there, and when we walked in, I mean, the furnishings they put in there, I mean, it's all time period for when the stuff happened. And Penny said that a spirit contacted her and was telling her she got Rose, and she said that Rose liked the pink walls in the bathroom, that was beautiful, and that she was loving the remodel. She loved all of it. And so that's kind of a pat on the back to the investor and stuff like that, who's really worked his ass off to make that place beautiful. And Crystal and I stopped by the Magnolia on our way out of town from Phantom Fest, and we both walked up to it, and you can definitely feel the history, and you can definitely feel something. We really wanted to get in there, but I'm like, yeah, today is not the day I go to jail, and I'm not trespassing, so we'll have to just wait and find out. But we walked all the way around it, took photographs, and, both of us were getting kind of there's got to be something to this, It's a really cool place. We can't find a whole lot of history on it for some reason, but, they keep finding the artifacts in there and the walls when they're remodeling and stuff. It's crazy. Yeah. But yeah, I was wondering about that. I was very curious to see what you got when you went in there, because I mean, we kind of got little kids on the outside of it, like around the corner.
Yeah.
But other than that, it just felt kind of just like a lot from the outside.
What you're going to see and of course, Will, he went around to a bunch of different areas in Texas and with some teams and groups, and got some really great places. But I'm telling you, even his feedback with me was, we went and shot there for, I don't know, 4 hours one night. We were just going to go in and said, we'll get what we can get. He got so much activity from that 4-hour span that it has taken up a lot of the movie. From active ghost box sessions. I mean, so active to where they weren't even involving us. They were going at each other. There was major confrontations going on. There's a lot of possession between spirits going on. There's a lot of dominant, oh my goodness. They are so dominant. I mean, at one point it was like, I think we need to leave this room. Whatever's going on, we need to let them handle it. Between 2 male spirits and a female. The female was real interested in talking to us, real interested in being around us. And then once those men came in, she was gone. And I remember being like, that's not fair. That's not fair. They were just at each other. So heavy. And then you had there was a man by the name of William Faust, and he was a murderer. He actually murdered Emma, the little girl spirit that is running around the place, and hid out in his the closet of his room. So you've got that activity, those spirits, and then whatever else has gone on. You're talking about a building that has been standing since the early 1800s. It's unbelievable, and a majority of the activity on Boards of the Unknown is from this location alone. And you as an investigator will know, if you can get even a 10 or 20 minutes worth of good activity and experience and evidence from a place, that's great. We're talking hours that has had to really break down and put into this film. And that's why the release date got pushed back, because he was like, there's so much I really want to try to get here. So it's going to really, it's intense.
So it's going to be a full-length movie, not a documentary like Shadows was, right? It's going to be a full movie?
It's yeah, I mean, it's still, we're still calling it the, documentary movie. It's been thrown around a lot. I'm not really for sure truly how long it's going to be. But he's trying to really get as much as possible in there with all the locations. And then great music. A lot of, really great bands were featuring in it too. So it's been a fun project. And we're counting down the days. So
yeah, I know the excitement. I mean, ours is going to be released, at the end of September, and actually into Phantom Fest, but they introduced it at Scarefest instead, and I was like, but it, like I said, they were like, we have to put the documentary within an hour of stuff. So a lot of the stuff that we didn't get in there, like the investigation with me and Chip, which was such a blast. None of that got in there because you have to keep with the storyline. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. Absolutely. I was just proud to be a part of it, and I'm sure you are too. I mean, Will's been around for quite a while, so people know who he is, and I'm sure that after this comes out, a lot of people are going to know exactly who you are too. The place that you would like to go the most, besides the Magnolia, where would that be?
Ooh, God, that's a good question. Well, back before it kind of blew up all over TV, the Baker Hotel. Baker Hotel is another. I wish, and I know I can understand and I can appreciate the fact that it is such a large location and it is going to take a lot of dollars to get that back up and running. But oh God, I wish someone would come through and really renovate that place and get it back up and about.
I think they're doing that right now. They have a bid to do that, and I think in 3 years they said it's going to be exactly like it was, as best they can do in 1929. And because I think it was NTGS that just got inside the Baker. And I'm like, Andre, I don't know how he did that, but whatever magic he got done, he did it. And I was like so jealous because we go on the outside of it a lot.
Right, yeah.
And that place is crazy just on the outside. When you take a photograph of it and it doesn't show up in the photograph and you're like, that's a huge building. Now, how does that just disappear? I mean, that's the craziest place in the paparazzi area right there. Man, I can just go back in the heyday and see people driving up in those awesome cars and getting out in their real nice suits, and it's a cool place.
Yes, that's definitely a favorite. Also, I heard of it through April Slaughter, who's a well-known paranormal author. A really, really sweet person and really loves what she does, and we can all appreciate that. But she had mentioned a place called Dead Man's Hole in one of her books, Ghost Hunting Texas. It's actually located in Marble Falls. It is a historical marker. What it was private property back in the day, and a guy named Benjamin McKeever owned the land, and of course, unfortunately, owned slaves. And when they, for whatever reason, he was upset with them, or they didn't do what he wanted, he would hang them from a tree that was above this huge hole, and once they were deceased, he'd cut them down and they'd fall into this hole, and turns out it's about 150 feet deep. Pretty large sucker. And when the townspeople found out what was going on and they discovered the hole, they found, I think, between 12 and 15 bodies in it. So displaced spirits. This is it's in the middle of the country. I mean, there's when you go dusk and into nighttime, it's country. There's wildlife. It's trees. It's crickets. Cicadas. It's country. So displaced. And April mentions in her book, even the most professional of investigators, she doesn't recommend them going because of how heavy it is and the fact that Benjamin is still probably occupying that area as well. There's not a house on the property that I know of. I just, once you turn down this dirt road, you drive right up to it. The historical marker's out there. The hole is there. It's been covered up, so no one's, accidents, important, no one wants that to happen, so they've covered it up. But yeah, it's, anytime I've gone, that's actually the first place I went where my hair was pulled, where I was physically touched. Of course, stuff like that. I'm all for it. I'll stay. I want more. I've been going there I've been going there for about 4 years now. Yeah, and it's just a place I kind of will keep going back to. If I want to have an experience, or I want to have my little spiritual outlet, because when I started doing this 8 years ago, as you know, we couldn't talk about it back then. The TV shows weren't that big, and people were still kind of closed off and scared and don't talk about it. So, very under the rug for me, under the table, and so that was always my outlet, going investigating and going to feel those feelings and feel that energy. So that was one of the first places I went and still go to, and definitely a favorite. So,
wow.
yeah.
Wow. So I also wanted to mention that we have a mutual friend that when we were talking about Will and Brad and editing the film, Giovanni helped edit our film as well.
Yeah. Yes.
He was amazing. It took him and Ruben and them a little bit of time to warm up to us, but once they did, yeah, they had experiences at the Bordello too. You might want to ask Gio about that sometime.
I've been meaning to. When I first moved back to Austin, him and I got in touch and bonded through the paranormal, and we did an investigation at Shoal Creek, which is on YouTube somewhere, and we didn't get a lot of really anything, because there was a pretty large group we were with quite a few people, so I was picking up on senses, and I think at times in that video, I was like, I don't feel good, I don't like this area, I don't like what's going on over here. So he still has one of my books. He still has one of my paranormal books I let him borrow for places to go, but I was really, really excited to see him with y'all doing that project. He had Facebook messaged me when he first got it on with it. He's like, I can't tell you much, but oh my God, this is so great. And I was, good for you, man. Enjoy it, roll with it, and let your senses open up and let your mind wander, because it's really a beautiful thing.
The first day I think we were doing B-roll shots, and it was the Galena people there are so nice, and the cops let us use the little golf cart thing that had little sirens and stuff, lights and sirens and stuff on it. So cute. And I think it was more like a mule than a golf cart. But anyway, we were driving that around taking B-roll shots, and we went by this really old bar on old Route 66. And we went through it one time and all was good. We went through it a second time to shoot it, and some lady comes out at 3 in the afternoon, mind you, drunker than Cooter Brown, and flashes all of us.
My God!
I go, oh, I think we better cut that out of the B-rolls.
I think he told me that at Phantom Fest, but that doesn't make
so
for
scary.
good. That's a form of entertainment that really doesn't need to be shown.
Yeah, no, not at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I think she probably had 5 teeth in her head too, so she wasn't real cute. And we were like, oh God. And I said, Gio, did that hurt your camera at all? Because I know them are $high cameras. But we had a pretty good time doing B-roll. And by the end of the week, I think every single one of them had an experience. I think a woman whispered in Gio's ear, and he was like, he freaked out. It freaked him out. Ruben wouldn't go upstairs by himself in the Bordello. He's like, no, not going to happen. I'm done with that place. And Casey, our sound guy, he was hearing voices that were not us talking. Like a lot of them. And with those boom mics and stuff, you can definitely hear it. So I would be interested to hear what he actually caught.
Yeah.
So you've been hanging out with a vampire type group in Austin, or you've been kind of getting into that. What's up with that?
Yeah. Well, and it's a touchy subject, because I do have family members that are really
freaked.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, and it's unfortunate because it's not what Hollywood is portraying as far as these real groups. But I got in touch with the Vampire Court of Austin around the time shortly after I moved back to Austin from Los Angeles, and really great group of people, and they invited me to be part of their vampire ball, which was last weekend, and just met some really, really wonderful individuals, and they invited me to be a part of their court, and They do a lot of events around the area. They're actually, the King and Queen, Logan and Daly, are in New Orleans right now. And so they put me in touch with some really, really great individuals that really accept what I do and accept what I'm about and the whole ghost world. But not going to say any names. I've spoken with you, Selena.
Anonymity.
Put you together, but a ghost hunter friend. We're going on 6 years of friendship. He actually kind of introduced me into the culture, and I really enjoy it. I don't, it's not about, drinking people's blood or anything like that. It is a lifestyle. It's a certain, like, if I go out in the sun, I have really weird reactions. I've got blackout curtains in my house. I'm up all night and sleeping in the day unless I'm doing my makeup job, which keeps a roof over my head. I'm thankful for that. But I've just always been very into the darker things. Certainly not any kind of satanic, anything like that. And it can be very misconstrued when you start talking about the goth culture and the vampire culture, and not like that at all. As a kid, I was obsessed with Edward Scissorhands and obsessed with Bram Stoker's Dracula, and just this was what made me tick, and this is what made me feel alive. And so my house represents it, and my style represents it, and it's definitely in my heart, and I've met some great people through it. So yeah, good bunch of people, the Vampire Court. They're very wonderful. So,
yeah, that's cool. We got one question in the chat room for you. Do you have any place you will not go, that you refuse to go?
No,
I don't think so.
Bring it. The way it is, if I do pick up on anything that can be threatening, like I said, I think we know the lines that spirits can cross as far as harming us mentally or physically. I try to when I go to these locations, my senses are completely open. I have to have had a certain amount of sleep. My mind has to be right. I can't be stressed. I can't have anything on my mind that's going to take away from going to that area. So I completely open myself up, and if there's any small bit of dangerous stuff that's going to put me or my mom, who usually goes with me, in danger, I try not to, depends on how my adrenaline's running, to be honest with you, because it's really hard to leave an area. I really go to have those experiences, but like there are lines that can be crossed, and possessions that can happen, and I have had that happen recently, but to be honest, I'll go back and let it happen again. It made for good footage, and I'm alive and well today. But I really try not to bring anything home with me. I do go through rituals. I do go, I do my cleansing. I do the whole bit. As far as my religion goes, I grew up going to church. I didn't get anything out of it. I didn't get what I needed from it. And I think some people blow Christianity way, 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 way too far out there. My religion, it comes from spiritualism. I'm a spiritualist. I get what I need from the other world. I open myself up to it, and so I go through those kind of steps in that whole process whenever I go to and I leave the location. But there's really there's no place I really wouldn't go, I don't think.
Huh. Well, that's kind of interesting, because there's places that I wouldn't go. I would go anywhere, but when it comes to knowing that there's demonic possessions and stuff, I'm a little bit hesitant, but I will still go. I have a really strong faith, and I can run like hell. But, but like, for instance, when we went to Villisca, we were all about, we're going to stay the night in Villisca. We're going to sleep in the house. After our investigation and me confronting the shadow person in the attic, and I got angry because he hurt kids and a innocent family, so I was like, why would you do that? What was your purpose? Not really that I was going after him too hard, but I got angry because we had been interacting with these poor children that were scared, huddled in a corner, and you get angry, and I'm not scared to confront, at all. I know some people think Brad and Barry have their own way of doing things, and they're not quite right. And I did learn some things from them. I don't quite take it to the extent, but I go good cop, bad cop a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll see what works. But when I got angry at Villisca, that place is no joke. And after all that activity that we got and all the EVPs that we got, Penny was like, yeah, we're not going to sleep in the house. I go, why not? We were all set to sleep in the house. She goes, 8 people were bludgeoned to death with an axe in that house. That alone gives me the willies. And I said, yeah, I probably wouldn't be able to sleep because you can hear every creak that's in the house, and I'd be like every time looking at the staircase.
Yeah.
So, but it was, you know, places like that get I know what you mean about your adrenaline rush. You can't, it's like an alcoholic at a bar. When it's 2 o'clock, you got to leave.
That's exactly.
You don't leave.
Yes, it is like a drug, and it
is.
And I think some people, and you know, to each their own. Everybody's got their own way about it. I understand it, but I really feel like anyone that's doing this because they're an adrenaline junkie and they want to get that high, that's all great. Go skydiving. Go own a skydiving. You know, go do something like that, because I think a lot of people are forgetting. And granted, I know us as investigators, we're thrilled about the TV shows and movies that are out because it's opening up society to this world, but I think people are getting confused that, oh, that sounds fun. Yeah, we'll go to a haunted house. Yeah, that's cool. I think they're forgetting what can really happen and what can attach itself and how emotional you can get and how ill you can feel. And you know, I think people really kind of get it misconstrued. So I'm all for that adrenaline rush, but know that you need to open up your senses too and have some respect, because you're going on another piece of property that time really kind of stands still at times and for the spirit. So we went to the Kendrick House. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. It's in Carthage, Missouri. That place is also no joke. It's on a bed of limestone next to a railroad track, next to a river. And it was raining with a full moon that night. And there's a voodoo protection thing on the house that you have to pay homage by going and getting a pack of smokes, pulling off a filter, and each person before you go in taking a hit off the cigarette, which was but we went in there and it was solid activity, solid the whole time, and it's no joke. There's a shadow person upstairs. He is not friendly. Just a really, like, my friend Penny's a medium and sensitive, and boy, her spirit guide was like circling her, like, to protect her and going, I don't like this house, I don't like this house. And she's like, you're supposed to be making me calm down so nothing, you're stressed.
What is going on? So it was it was crazy, but I want to go back.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, I mean, and you'll know. I think whenever you go to locations, you'll know if you're cut out for it or not. Everybody has their thing and their place in life, and it takes a certain kind of individual to do this professionally, so to speak. Because there's a lot of things in life I can't do or couldn't do. There's a lot. I mean, I really, forgive me for saying this, I am a people person, but I really prefer to work with the dead. I honestly just, oh my good God, I just prefer to work with the dead. That's all I'm going to say. It really is. I mean, you know, I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, I prefer to work with the dead.
Penny and I always say that dead people don't scare us as bad as the living.
Yes.
You know, they can be so mean, and the spirits just want to communicate most times and let you know they're there, and just to be heard, you know. But live people, they cause a lot of drama and stress in your life. I find out more and more every day.
Yeah, ditto. Yeah, sucks. It sucks. So, and I think that's what we all have trials and tribulations in life, and I just feel like with everything I've been hit with growing up, that was always my outlet, was reaching out to the unknown, because that's where I got my peace from. And people just have such a hard time understanding that. And they're like, I mean, especially I work in makeup artistry, the people I come across, they're just like, what does that mean? And it's like, well, everybody has their outlets and what they go to feel good about, about life and what's going on. And that's just always been mine. It just in its own weird little way. So I welcome it.
Hey, I like the weirdness. I think it's cool. We hit it off first off when we were even just talking on Facebook, and then when I finally got to meet you at Phantom Fest, I felt like I'd known you for a long time. Yeah. And I have to say, your mom is really, really cool. I think it's really awesome that you and your mom have this in common and can do that. Because my dad, when I try to talk to him about stuff, he just like, whatever, like I'm nuts because I'm talking to ghosts or investigating spirit or whatever, he just he's so old school that he's just like, oh, whatever. I don't get into all that crap. And he just kind of rolls his eyes. But if my mom were still alive, I'm sure she would be into it as well, because we have Cherokee and Blackfoot descendant, in our what do you call it, family tree. Yeah. And I know that you have some Indian in your little family tree as well. Is that Chickasaw?
We are Chickasaw, yeah, mostly from my mom's side. My dad has quite a few. He's got, bits here and there, but we've got, and people look at me, they're like, you're so pale, like it doesn't work. And I think that's just because my ancestors have a great tan does not mean that I'm going to have a great tan. I mean, I have Irish in me too. So the Irish kind of outweighs the Indian, a little bit. What is your plans for the future in the paranormal besides possibly working on some more projects with Will? There's no stopping. And I've said that a time or two in a few interviews I have done. Like I said, I'm very thankful for Will and the team for bringing me in and letting me be me, because it's been very hard to kind of, I kind of jumped out of nowhere, but I've been on the sidelines watching for years, and it just took a little bit of time to realize I need to do this by myself. And I just have a different way of thinking and handling certain things. And so it was a work in progress, and then just going through life's trials and tribulations, like I said. So, I'm very thankful for this project, and we definitely have some things lined up for November, December, which we're looking forward to. We're finding out more places to go. I'm going to stay on board and bring my A game and bring my heart and soul and everything into it. But if everything kind of falls apart, hopefully it won't, but you never know what'll ever happen in the next year or so. This is in me. You don't stop what's in you. You don't stop what drives you. You don't stop what heals your mind and your heart. And, like I said, this has always been that for me. And, I'll continue to do it. But the future's looking pretty bright, and I'm excited. I think the most exciting thing is just getting to meet more and more people. And, the more accepted I feel, then, the better it is, because bouncing around so many careers and lifestyles and groups, this is home for me. And I love what's going on. So no stopping at all.
Good deal. I know that you're going to join us at the Para Unity Fest next March, and that's going to be awesome. I had them put your table close to the Ghost Hunter store so we could chit chat all day.
Yes, yes.
But I can't wait for that event. That's going to be so much fun, and Dakota's going to be there. And I don't know if you've ever met Dakota Lawrence before.
I haven't.
Oh, he's pretty cool.
I'm looking forward to meeting, and unfortunately, when the ball first started rolling, I was kind of talking to the wrong people, and a lot was said to me, a lot of negative and a lot of chitter chatter, and I'm like, I don't do well. This isn't high school. We are adults. If you're adult enough to pay your bills, you're adult enough to stay out of the drama, and so I definitely try to do that. So I'm looking forward to meeting Dakota. I'm looking forward to meeting so many people that I've heard so many good things about, and I'm so excited.
Yeah. I'm excited as well. So I was going to ask, I was wondering, besides the tool that you use, of course, as yourself, what is your other favorite gadget to use when you go investigating?
Is it shocking that it's the ghost box? Isn't that everybody's favorite? I think everybody I talk to, it's everybody's favorite. And I feel like it's because it is easy to use. It is an unbelievable way to get in touch with that other side. I had heard chitter chatter surrounding the SB7 and then seeing, of course, the Ghost Adventures episode with the Galka family and how Gary Galka brought it on board and how they were using it. Unbelievable piece of equipment. And I think we can all agree with that. That is definitely a favorite. That's really kind of my go-to. I'll go in with all this stuff, but it's hard for me to even get a flashlight at times. I just want to dart right in. I just want to go into the dark and I want to feel it. I want to feel that energy. I don't want to see anything light, of course, apparition, right. Yeah, bring it on, but no light. But the ghost box is always what I reach for. And then of course a voice recorder. You got to have that on you somewhere so you can get those moments. But there's still a lot of pieces I want to play with. The obelisk, every now and then I'll get it out, but again, it's just those senses and that ghost box. I'm a happy camper.
Yeah. Well, I am not so in tune yet. I'm kind of trying to get that way. I think my problem is that I doubt myself sometimes, and Penny's like, you need to just go with your gut, man. If you're feeling something, then you're feeling it for a reason. Quit doubting yourself. And when I was little, I had dreams where they were pretty bad. They were I would dream something like a plane crash and it would happen. So after a couple of really bad dreams, like me witnessing my dad's best friend dying at the time it was happening, kind of like I was seeing it through my dad's eyes. After that, I kind of shunned, I kind of was cut it off because it was scaring the crap out of me. I thought I was causing shit to happen. So I was I kind of cut it off. And now that I'm into the paranormal and, I haven't been really doing a whole lot in the paranormal as far as having a team and being out there. I've always been interested in it, because our family has always believed in it because of the background that we have. Spirits are very, very well known to still be around. And so I've never been closed-minded about that portion of it at all. But now I'm starting to get the feelings more. Okay, I'm feeling really heavy. I'm having shortness of breath. Feels like someone's sitting on my chest. The chills. All that I'm letting myself become a tool. I use the periscopes and I use the REM pods and I use the mel meters and the K2s and all that crap I use. It really doesn't hone in on what it could be or whatever. I know that, but the feelings that I get, there's no denying that. The K2 could go off because a surge of electricity went off, 2 miles away.
Right.
But your body is your best tool. And so I'm trying to learn from Penny and trying to pick up on, more things and not doubt myself. But I'm not going to ever say that I'm a sensitive or anything like that. But I can definitely feel when there's something in the room or something like that. I'm just about that sensitive, not anything more than that. I wish I could see things at times, but there are some things that I would rather not be shown. And I know that, I don't know, do you see things like that? I mean, are you a clairvoyant? Do you see the actual spirits or you just have communication with them, or how does that work?
It's kind of everything, but not, again, and I say this all the time, it really... And I may have people on my case after I say this. I don't know, but I don't care. No. At the end of the day, it is up to the other side if they want to be seen or heard. They are running the show. What they say goes. If they want to pop in and show themselves, cool, it's up to them. We can't force them to do anything. We can go in and yell all day and get angry and say things to piss them off in hopes they do make an appearance. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that unless you're going to like you were saying earlier, if there's some bullying going on and there's some kids that are being affected by this, by all means, get in there and do what you can. But at the end of the day, it is up to them. And it's this, don't go in and start disrespecting sacred ground. Don't go in and start disrespecting them and make enemies that right. You don't what they're gonna do. Don't even put that out there. So if they want me to see and hear them, damn it, they'll let me know. And growing up, it was seeing them often, especially Lady. And my sister sees often, doesn't talk about it much. She wants to, she will. My mom used to see things growing up, but really she doesn't anymore. For me, it just depends on the spirit. It depends on the location. I will see shadow figures, not all the time. When I was living in San Angelo, I went to Fort Concho a lot with a group that I was with, a big group of girls, not a big group, but small, and would constantly see shadow figures. And then one day I just didn't see them anymore. I was like, well, I guess they're done with me. I guess we have fun and they've moved on to others. So as far as apparitions at the Magnolia, I haven't seen them yet. It's just hearing. I mean, you're talking footsteps, things being moved, pounding on the wall, singing, those confrontations going on. So it's been all hearing for me there. Yeah. But it's the ability to kind of see, hear, whatever. But there's a couple books I've read, and I would like to, if anyone has any questions as far as wanting to tap into all that, there's a great book I recommend, Buckland's Spirit of Communications. There's a really cool store here in Austin called Ancient Mysteries, where they have like sage and they have like spells and all kinds of really cool stuff. And I go there for the books, and I've really been able to tap into a lot of really cool things by using that book. It's a huge, thick book. It's almost like you take tests. Like after you finish a chapter, you go back and you do some tests and all that, fun stuff. But yeah, being able, what I've read the last couple of years has really opened up some stuff to me. So it's possible. It's possible.
Wow. Awesome. Well, we're almost out of time, but I wanted to give you an opportunity to tell everybody how they can find you on Facebook, or if you have a website or whatever.
Thank you for that. I am on Facebook. I'm on Selena's Facebook. I'm under the name Alyssa Onyx. And going into this, I said I wanted to keep Facebook as private as possible. But again, we're in promotion time, and by all means, jump on board. You want to chit chat. You're interested in seeing what's going on. I do a lot of photography work and the makeup and all that fun stuff. But my heart and soul is with the ghostly world and the vampires. So you'll see a lot of that. voiceoftheunknown.com. You can see our teaser trailer there to get you amped and ready. It's a very short piece, but you'll feel it. You'll feel it for sure by just watching that snippet. Twitter, Alyssa Onyx. YouTube, Alyssa Onyx. Hopefully the name is different enough it's easy to remember. But yeah, I'm kind of easy to find, so I'm out there.
Well, I'm so glad that you were able to join me on the show, and I will definitely have you back on after the screening of Voices of the Unknown. And I would really like for you to let me know when that's going to happen, because that'd be pretty awesome to see.
We're going to be blasting it. We've got our radio show tomorrow night, Badass Paranormal Radio, and I'll be talking about that on Facebook. The sooner it gets, the more we're going to be it's going to be out there, and everyone will know for sure when and where and how and what. So Facebook.
Awesome. Well, good luck to you.
Thank you.
I'll be talking to you.
Of course you will. And I look forward to it. Thank you.
Bye, honey. Have a good evening.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thanks. All right, guys. That was Alyssa Onyx, the awesome Alyssa. And you need to check out Voices of the Unknown when it comes out. The teaser trailer is really pretty cool. I was checking that out the other day, and I know that his editing is going to take a while because poor Brad Kling got stuck with that job on Shadows, and so it was a pretty lengthy process. I just want to give you a little heads up about a couple of events that are coming up. We got History, Haunts, and Legends in Jefferson. This coming up Saturday. It's going to be pretty freaking awesome. You need to get your tickets now. My team will be heading up the investigation. One of the 4 teams, I think. Jeremy Jones will be out there from Paranologies, and he will be showing us the new electroscope. So you got to come check that out. Then the week following, November 9th, thanks to Art and Penn, they are presenting the City of Marshall Haunted Holidays, and that one is going to be really cool because there's 2 places that have never been investigated, but I don't know, the tickets are pretty limited, I'm sure, about this time, so you might want to get on there and get your tickets. Also, if you need any gear, check me out, Selena Roane, on Facebook, or you can email us at fearparanormal at yahoo.com. Sorry about that. And I can get you anything from the Ghost Hunter store and Paranologies that you would ever want. Check it out. Just let me know. If you could, you need to order your copy of Shadows on 66, which is me along with the Kling Brothers and Chip Coffee. It's $10, and you can order it on shadowson66.com. And then I would like to thank my awesome sponsors that I have for my show. Tony at Syntex Roof Systems down in Waco. Thank you, brother. I know you're on it. Flanagan's Party Barn, Wendy and Wes. I just want to shout out to them a big thank you for hosting my DVD release party. Shamrock Pest Control, Sean and them over there will take care of all your little insect problems that you got. Just give them a call. Able Towing and Saba with Ace, with Barry Harder. Get you skinny on with Barry. Just give him a shout on Facebook. Look up Barry Harder, and he will take care of you. Next week, there will be no show. We will have a rerun. And on the 10th, Veterans Day special, I will have Al Franklin, who is a war veteran and a very dear friend of mine, and also on Fear Paranormal. If you would like to look up Fear, you could look us up at Fear Paranormal Society on Facebook, or Fear Paranormal at wix.com/fear1. And that's our new and improved website. Man, it is rocking cool. So you got to check it out. Also, go to my show page, Close to Death by Selena Roane, and give it a like and keep up with the guests coming up. I've got some really awesome guests for November and working on some extremely cool ones for December. So stay tuned for that. And we will see you November 10th with the new show. Peace out.
Are you hanging out in this house because you're scared to go to hell?
You might knock her ass down, but she's gonna land back on her feet.
Welcome to Galena, Kansas, home of the notorious murder bordello. Join us on this episode of Shadows on 66.
Can you keep my secret?
Holy shit.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. I'm Selena with Fear Paranormal, and you've joined us on Close to Death. I have a very special guest tonight. I'm really excited, and I think she's pretty excited as well. Friend of mine from Austin. Her name is Alyssa Onyx. Hey Alyssa, are you with us?
Yes, hello.
Hey, you're in the Onyx Dungeon, are you?
I am live from the Onyx Dungeon. It's a work in progress. I've still got a few things to put up, but it's coming along. My little cake.
It looks pretty spooky, so I think you're doing a good job so far.
Good. Good deal.
Well, for those of my audience who are not familiar with you, why don't you kind of tell them a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Well, I am based out of Austin. I've been here for the last year and a half, and I'm a native Texan, proud to be. It's home. I have been involved in the paranormal since I was a baby, 2 going on 3 years old. I grew up in a very somewhat active home, and spirits would kind of come to everybody in their own little way. I bonded with an elderly spirit that I called Lady, and that's the name that I knew to give her. It makes me feel. And I went home that night, and he said, the interview went great. Will you stick with this, and will you kind of come on board? And I was like, yeah. So we're pushing it, and we're getting down to crunch time. But it's definitely going to be a game changer. You hear talk of people falling in love with paranormal activity and The Conjuring, and movies with such heavy activity that's reenacted, of course. What you're going to see in Voice of the Unknown is real. Nothing is scripted. Nothing has been reenacted in any way. It's going to be scary. A lot happened. A lot happened, and but we're excited. We're very excited for it. So
I know that feeling about things going wrong in your life, and like I can thank Brad and Barry Kling for kind of bringing me on to Shadows on 66. So I totally understand the excitement when they ask you. You're like trying to be cool and go, yeah, it'd be kind of fun. Sure, why not? But inside, you're like a little kid freaking out, wanting to get out of the car and, you know, jump up and freak. But it happened at a great time, and I'm glad you are on the project. I mean, I was wondering about the haunted Magnolia because my cousins and I have a lot of family that live there. Right. And, you know, we had, you know, people when they first hear about a thing, they're going, is it really that haunted? Or they just hyping it up? Because they do it a lot. You know, they do it at a lot of places, and it's kind of a disappointment. But I really wanted to get in there, but man, trying to get a hold of someone to get in that place is like impossible. So maybe one found a real mean one. They can get cranky, but I haven't found like a really scary one just yet. I don't hope that I don't really, but it'll happen, I'm sure. So Dark Doll, you do that by yourself, huh? You go to locations by yourself, or maybe with one person filming you as you are in a new project with, it's not new, it's been a work in progress for a while, but Will Scoville, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, Voice of the Unknown is the baby right now. That is the love and the, I mean, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears going into it. Granted, I'm, you know, he's doing most of the you know, the hard work, and you know, I hope he's not stressing as much as I know that he probably is. And I chime in every now and then to check up on him, but I'm very thankful that he brought me on. It happened at the most perfect time in my life. A lot was going wrong, and a lot of things were just really up in the air, and it was kind of just a freak way it happened. I showed up to do an investigation at the haunted Magnolia Hotel in Seguin, Texas, which heavy place. We're talking packed with activity from so many different personalities, ages, so much is going on. And I basically just went to do the investigation and knew there was going to be an interview of some sort, and had heard a Voice of the Unknown, but didn't really want to jump in and be like, hey, I'm an investigator, can I, you know, be a part of the project? I just kind of kept my mouth shut, and he ended up being there. So met him, we hit it off, and did the interview, and I spoke as an investigator. I spoke from my heart, why I do it, what I feel, how it makes her. And at 2 years old, that's pretty deep stuff. And my brother and sister have 10 and 14 years on me. So they were seeing it. They were the ones turning on the cassette tapes at that time and recording me talking to them. And I'm just a little bitty country girl talking about lady. And she was very protective of me, and I would draw pictures of her. So I'm 25 now. That's 23 years of having what I call a gift. And about 8 years ago, dove in professionally. And by professionally, meaning traveling to these places, learning about them, researching as much as I can through internet, books, word of mouth, whatever. I used to do the group thing, but the way my senses work, if I'm with so many people, it will just completely throw it off. So I'm more comfortable going to a place by myself or with one or two other people. So this February, I launched Dark Doll Paranormal, which the name comes from, I'm also a makeup artist. I've been doing that as my career to make money the last 7 years now. So Dark Doll just seems very fitting. I'm very dark and somewhat gothic in a way, and just tied it all together. So that's my world.
Wow, that's cool. That thing floating in the back of you is kind of freaking me out a little bit. I'm like, did I see an apparition on the other side? I think you got like something hanging by your light. I'm like, whoa, it's moving.
Those are my friends, yeah. But I never know. I mean, I've been in this location. I just moved to this apartment about 2 months ago. I don't notice any activity around me, but, you know, as investigators, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We try to bring it home, but sometimes they're here, and it is what it is. I don't mind it.
Yeah. I haven't.
I was always afraid as a kid coming past it.
There was people that were murdered here. She didn't know how many.
This has always been reputed to be the Staffelbecker Bordello.
The old bordello, which I used to own, is haunted.